Hello from Southern California. This is the DealershipNews.com podcast, where we bring you the new and old school insight into the business of selling cars and service so you have the foresight to grow your dealership and stay ahead of the competition. I'm Kelly Kleinman, and here is our show. Kelly here. Welcome to our quick cast. Today we are announcing, and I'm very happy to be doing this. It's taken a little while for us to put it together, but we will be carrying a regular podcast on our website featuring Mr. Jeff Bounds of Grant Cardone's Cardone Automotive Resources. Grant Cardone, of course, unless you've been living under a rock for a while, is the superstar car sales training personality you've likely seen or worked with in the past on some level. Jeff is now running the program, and he's our guest today. Hello, Jeff.
Hey, how's it going, Kelly? Good to see you, man.
Yeah, good to see you as well. Now, we're going to be carrying the podcast, and there's some other things in the conversation, so stand by for that information. But what are you guys rolling out at Cardone Automotive Resources for 2020?
Yeah, we're super excited about it. We've been working on this essentially for like the past, 90 days. It's one of the reasons why, I come down here to take this position, because the reality, Kelly, is that, training doesn't work. And many people are going to hear that and think, what is this guy talking about? He's selling training. The reality is that in the industry as we know it, it's been siloed out. You have the virtual training platforms. We have obviously the best in the marketplace that's been out there for 8 years. We have over 2,000 segments, right? You have people that do the 1 day and 2 day workshops, but then there's the in between, right? And it's the reality that, people learn 3 different ways. Either they learn it by what they hear, they learn it by what they see, or they learn it by what they do. So what we're rolling out is something that's never been done before inside of the automotive industry. It's called the 3-step approach. We're going to tap all those learning modalities and give automotive dealers the opportunity to really get their people skilled up, trained to the impediments, and do it in a way where they can't fail. And why that's so important is because the only reason that training wouldn't work at your dealership is if your people don't use it. So with that being said, we're rolling out a coaching program where essentially we're going to work with, a dealership's team every single week. We're going to be on a Zoom call like you and I are doing right now, Kelly. And what we're going to do is we're going to do a needs assessment with the dealer. We have 20 custom tracks that we have. And we have these workbooks, and the workbooks that we have are pretty robust. Most of them are anywhere from 20 to like 30 pages specifically on topics that we've been able to identify that are the most, neglected in automotive. And then we're going to piggyback on top of that by being out at the store every quarter to spend time with the management team, to spend time with the sales team, onboard new hires, and just, give them the type of support that the automotive industry has been looking for the past, 25, 30 years.
Well, you touched on it a little bit, but why does training fail? Do people get complacent? Are they naturally lazy? Do they need constant motivation? What's the reason? Are there a number of them?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think people are misunderstood, right? And the reality is, in parochial school, high school, college, whatever, we've been programmed to learn in a certain way. And we've been learned to be led in the training process. So for example, you go to college, you major in your course, here's your syllabus, here's your outline, here's where we're going to quiz you, here's where we're going to test you, study these 3 chapters, and then we're going to recap on it, and we're going to do it again, right? So that's how we're programmed to learn. So we go out into the real world, and everybody just assumes that people are going to learn in a way that's self-directed. And that's essentially like the definition of insanity, just because of the fact that most people don't have the wherewithal or the actual initiative to actually do training on their own. So dealers, in good faith realize that their people need to be trained, but the reality is that, they're just not giving them a baseline to how to do it successfully. So that's why, the coaching is so important. Like, I just got through watching the Super Bowl yesterday and watching this kid, Patrick Mahomes, that's, unbelievable, right? Why is he unbelievable? Well, he's probably got 5 or 6 different coaches, right? He's got a nutritionist. He's got a quarterback coach. He's got probably a mindset coach. He's got a playbook that he follows and that he studies, every single week, right? So why would we do anything different inside of a business and in an automotive dealership? You got to spend time with your people every single day, every single week, and then recap it, make sure it's working, and have a baseline to take it to the next level. I'm gonna be the first one to tell you that unless you and I are telling something we don't know, neither one of us are omnipresent, right? So you can't be in front of 12, 15 people and give them the sort of guidance that they need. So you need to implement a process that'll get it done.
I'm a coach. Do you know the story about, what I do? It's seasonally, I'm with the Chicago Cubs scout team.
Yeah.
And if you looked at the Patrick Mahomes interview and you talk to any of those players or you listen to any of those interviews, they all had a lot of praise for their coach. For Andy
Yeah.
Reid, they liked playing for him. This is probably the same thing with automotive. You've got to like your manager, right?
Yeah, I mean, look, the only reason you wouldn't like sales is just because you don't know what you're doing, right? And it's like, I look at managers, I look at directors of training, and look, I mean, they're doing the best that they can, but they're essentially trying to chop down a tree with a pocket knife. I mean, it's like they don't have the bandwidth to get done what needs to be done. I always use another analogy. It's like putting lipstick on a pig or a Band-Aid on a disease, right? You're not going to cure it. The way that you cure it is you got to partner up with somebody that's going to provide you the level of accountability that you need to get with your team. Because let's face it, in the automotive industry, it's a change of the guard. I mean, the old car dogs are gone. It's predominantly millennial now, coming from outside different industries. Maybe they were a bartender, maybe they worked at Best Buy. They don't understand the culture of automotive. So, for example, this one workbook that I showed you here, it's on attitude and mindset. That's something that nobody talks about anymore in the automotive industry, right? So if you don't have the proper attitude, you don't have the proper mindset, it's like building a house on sand. You got to start with that foundation to get their head right, and then get them entrenched into the fact that the reason you're training is to become great. And then when you become great, that's when you start to like your job, and that's when you start to make money, and that's when your career will take off.
So you're telling me the old guard is dead. Does that mean that the four square method went with it?
It did, but it's kind of still around. I mean, you got the matrices now and everything else. I mean, it's really essentially kind of the same deal. It's just we printed it up and made it look a little bit more, futuristic, so to say. But, Grant had launched information-based selling 25 years ago, right? And everybody gave him a hard time. It was like, this is crazy. Nobody's ever going to do it. And now we're in 2020, and it becomes even more relevant today that this is the way. I mean, you got to give customers information. You got to show them a lease. You got to show them a one pay. You got to show them a buy. You got to show them a pre-owned. You got to show them what the value is on their trade. Because if you don't, and you walk away, you're going to lose their business because somebody else will. So it's a changing of the guard, man. I mean, I was just talking to somebody the other day about modern retailing and talking about how important that is. There's a dealer up in Jersey that's like killing it on Roadster right now. Do I think it's going to completely replace people coming into a dealership? No. Do I think there's a segment of people out there that are wrapped around it? Absolutely. So if you are running a dealer today and you don't have that as one of your sales funnels, you're doing yourself a disservice.
We're going to be getting a lot of nice little tidbits, just like what you just heard from Jeff on a regular basis. I think you're going to be doing your podcast, every Friday? Once a week?
Yeah, every single Friday at 10 a.m. I do a show called the 10X Automotive Weekly, which I'm super excited now is going to be on the Dealership News channel. It's something that we're doing to give back to the automotive industry, and so far the feedback has been incredible. We have a lot of dealerships that they run their Friday morning meeting around this, and they discuss it afterwards to kind of try to build on it and make it their own. So, at Cardone Automotive Resources, we're just dedicated to giving back to the industry and providing as much content as we can for free, but also realize that, doing one thing one time great doesn't make you, a master. It takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of commitment. So we're willing to, get on the train and help you get to the next level.
Right on the money, Jeff. Hey, listen, I want to thank you for joining us on this quick cast. Now we're gonna be obviously getting together with you and the Cardone Automotive Resource podcast. Looking forward to that. And we'll speak to you soon. We'll see you at the NADA.
Yeah. We'll be at NADA. We're going to be at booth number 4083C.
Okay.
We're giving away some pretty cool stuff just so everybody knows it's on the podcast. If you go and register today at grantcardone.com/NADA 2020, You have the once in a lifetime opportunity to hang out with Grant, Kevin Hart, Magic Johnson, Snoop Dogg, and Usher. And you also have the opportunity to win up to $10,000 in monthly training. So I welcome everybody to come say hi. And Kelly, I'd love for you to stop by as well. Maybe we can do one of these live on the floor in Vegas.
That sounds really good. So those celebrities will actually be there. They'll be at the booth.
Yeah. Like those guys are going to be participating at our 10X Growth Con, which is the largest marketing conference. It was just actually rated #1 by Forbes magazine in the world. So they're going to be there the next week. So what we're raffling off is a ticket to attend the Growth Conference and then have that meet and greet with those folks. But that's like a $15,000 value as well. So somebody's going to be the lucky winner.
It'll be you. That's right. If you're a dealer and you're going to be at NADA, make sure you get involved in that raffle. Jeff, thanks again. We will speak soon.
Absolutely, brother. Appreciate you.
Kelly out.